Welcome to another edition of the SGR Coffee Break. We are getting hyped. So hyped. This is episode number 24, but we be hyped for next week. Well, some of us may be hyped. Some of us may be freaking out a little bit, but hey, you know what?
Well, I'm going back and forth between the hype and freaking out. Although, as I put in my gaming diary yesterday, when I let go the idea of even bothering to play The Witcher 3 this week, because seriously, I'm going to be gone for a week and I'm going to have to relearn how to play anyway. So, and I was like, I'm just letting it go for right now and embracing more Diablo 3, and suddenly I'm not nearly as stressed.
Yeah, if you don't know what next week is, it's Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference. We are so hyped for the iPhone.
Wasn't that yesterday?
Yeah, I know. I was just throwing that in there because I could care less. All I know is I came back from lunch, was like, oh, there's all this Apple stuff filling up my Twitter feed. Oh, what the fuck? Okay, whatever. No, because it's gaming. We're talking about E3.
Yes, the Electronic Entertainment Expo. All next week, and it starts even earlier than the past. It's starting Sunday because Bethesda has their press conference Sunday night. And then Monday is all the other press conferences. And then Tuesday morning is Nintendo and Square Enix. And then the doors open. And then I'm in appointments from pretty much that Tuesday at noon until doors close Thursday at 5.
Yeah,
Yay!
I'm debating on this because I usually in the past I used to be able to sit down and watch this, but I mean we're just getting back from a camping trip, so I'm gonna have to clean all that up, and I have to get ready to move my wife down to Nebraska. So there's that. I might just go for the Cliff Note version later on.
Just look for my little recaps on actiontrip.com. That's really all you need.
I probably will. Just that, and the press conferences just seem to drag on and on and on, and it's
Well, this year I don't understand what's going on. It's like we're having so many game announcements before the press conferences, and I don't know if it's so that they can devote more time to discussing the finer minutia of the games or hardware, or if it's because they know it's going to get leaked anyway, so they're just trying to, nip that in the bud, or what. I mean, I think everyone knew that Bethesda was going to announce Fallout 4 because it is their very first press conference ever, and what else could they announce besides Fallout 4? Because it's too close to another Elder Scrolls game, especially since they're still getting out Elder Scrolls Online for consoles and everything. Blah blah blah. But still, the fact that they came out and officially announced it anyway was just kind of like, okay. And
I've started seeing little snippets of other games that are like announced at E3, but we're announcing it now, and we'll show you gameplay at E3, and we're just like, okay.
Well, it's like in Xbox this morning just announced a new 1 terabyte Xbox One. It's like, you could have announced that at E3.
I think that's because Sony basically has announced their 1 terabyte PS4, so I think.
Well, and they could have announced it too. So it's
the PS4 one, I think, was because it was a SKU leak. So
because that's the problem, is that everything leaks. So I think that's a big reason why we're seeing like so many announcements so early. But I mean, I'm hoping there'll still be some surprises, because that's actually my favorite thing about the press conferences is the surprises. Even like the surprises that may not be like, I don't know, big game announcements. Like, for example, I didn't go in 2013 because I was monstrously pregnant, but I remember watching the press conference for PlayStation 4 because we knew that they were going to, officially unveil the PlayStation 4 because they'd already announced it. Them and Xbox had both already, announced the new consoles, but the E3 is when they really were going to go into the details about it and pricing and release dates and all that. And when Sony got out there that evening and was just like, no, there's no DRM on stuff. You can share it. You can give it away. You can sell it back. And by the way, it costs $100 less than the Xbox One. It was, I wasn't there, but I could feel the excitement through my computer screen. It's like, oh man, like they've totally just, won the pre-order battle right there with that. Because everyone was so excited, especially over Microsoft's press conference that morning. Now, I guess that is one thing about that they do have. Sony has a slight edge is that they can see what Microsoft has to say. So, not that they changed their price point from seeing what Microsoft had to say, but you know that when they watched the Microsoft press conference, that Yoshida was all like, "Yeah, baby, we already had it set $100 less. We've already won on this front." And um, and like, gosh, a couple of E3s ago, like when the 3DS was announced, and we got to see it in our hands, and then they announced all the publishers that were going to back it up, and how exciting that was, and all the games that they had announced. I love all that, all the excitement, and I haven't had that the last couple of E3s really, because everything's already out there. Like Xbox. Um, for their press conference, like they've already said that Quantum Break's not going to be there. So it's like, so what are you going to have? Halo 5 Guardians, we already know that's coming. Forza 6, we already know that's coming. Of course, I said this on Action Trip Facebook, and they're like, oh, well, they're going to confirm the Gears of War remaster. I was like, shut your mouth. Like, well, that's what's going to happen, and he's most likely right. Ubisoft has said that they're going to have a lot of fan favorites and big surprises. And I'm wondering if that's going to be Watch Dogs 2, because that's not a fan favorite or a big surprise. Or a welcome. Actually, it could be a surprise, but I don't know if it's a welcome surprise. So, but I mean, my schedule feels pretty good. Even Namco Bandai, or is it Bandai Namco? I can't remember anymore. But they sent me an email saying that they needed to extend my meeting about 30 minutes, and please don't say anything. But they wouldn't say what it was for. They said it's for their big unannounced title, and it's something that you don't want to miss. Well, of course I'll do that. So I'll be doing that Wednesday. And then someone leaked out and said, oh, well, that's Dark Souls 3. It's like, really? You had to we don't know if that's the case because they're not saying anything, but it's like, did you really have to go and leak that? That could have been so cool to get in there and be totally blown away, because no one's expecting Dark Souls 3 because Bloodborne just came out.
Yeah, and there's been more leaks about them probably ditching the PC platform. So,
well, is that really a shock?
I don't know.
I mean, really?
To some points, no. To some points, yeah. It was nice on the PC because you could always, you always had that DS fix that always, that was fun, and you had much better visuals and it ran a little bit better once they patched it to make it work well.
Well, but that was also
at the same point, I would really like to see their sales figures between like what happens sold on the PS4 versus the PC, to kind of see their justifications as to why they're dishing it. Because I know a lot of people that play Dark Souls on PC, so.
Mm-hmm. Well,
but I also have a lot more friends that play on PS3 and PS4, so I know a lot more people that have it on those platforms. So,
like this morning, CD Projekt Red announced that they sold 4 million copies of The Witcher 3 already, which is huge. Like, game hasn't been out for a month yet, and they've already sold 4 million copies. That's amazing. And then I haven't seen any proof to back this up, but Dan Teasdale, who is a game designer, has come out and said that the most interesting part of that figure is that less than 600,000 of those were PC copies, which is interesting considering The Witcher started out as a PC-only game.
Yeah, but I've noticed a trend where a lot of people are just getting tired of PC stuff. And I think part of that is because PC's been getting some pretty broken ports. There's been a lot of bug problems that come with PC games now. The indie stuff, that seems to work out pretty well, but the big AAA stuff that everybody gets hyped about, like Assassin's Creed, that ran like shit on the PC until they patched it up a couple times. Dark Souls, if you even just continuing on with Dark Souls, you had DS Fix for Dark Souls 1 that actually made the game run the way that it was supposed to run, because From Software just wasn't fixing it. And if you go with The Witcher 3, just to run it at medium, you need a pretty hefty machine. And if you think about what most people use now, it's pretty much laptops or tablets. Let's face it. Desktop computing is starting to go away because you have people using tablets. So, having big honking machines that are capable of running games the way that people want them to run versus just putting a thing in your console. I mean, I have two brothers that were both PC Master Race, and they both, I've been talking to them lately, and I've just been like, why don't you play this game on the PC? And they're like, I really don't feel like dealing with that. And I can sit on my couch. And it's like, well, you can put it up, hook it up to your TV. And it's like, eh, it's just too much effort.
So it sounds like to me there might be more of a market for the Steam machine than I thought. If that's
Not really, because
okay.
all it's doing is you can run Steam in big picture mode, and you can run it off of a controller, right? So a Steam machine, I mean, you get like a 500. They range in price, but you can build. You can. You don't even have to build. Let's throw that out because that's what PC Master Race is all about, right? Like you build your own, buy your own components, and put it together. It's really easy. It's time consuming, and people get flustered because that if you don't match your sockets right. Well, what is bus speed and what memory do I get? And well, this memory runs at this, and my motherboard says it runs at this, and what do I really need? And oh, my graphics card is the biggest chunk, and it just you can literally go in to God forbid, but you can go to a manufacturer such as Dell, Alienware, HP, Asus, and you can buy a nice little small set top computer for nothing, and then you just put Steam on it and run it in big picture mode, and that's really all Steam is doing is running Steam in big picture mode, which means it can use your controller and a keyboard and a mouse, depending on however you want to do it. But I don't. Their controller's a little interesting. I'm kind of curious to see how that works out, just based off of some of the things that I've seen. I hope we see more of that next week. Maybe I know if Steam isn't in E3, but maybe we can actually get some feedback on somebody that's actually handled the controller and be like, oh yeah,
I think they're going to be at the PC gaming show Tuesday night.
Oh, that's right. I forgot PC thing is doing that. That's right. So that's that part I'm kind of curious on. But a Steam machine, you can go to Best Buy right now and buy yourself a small little computer and run Steam. Because if you think about it, the Steam machines themselves right now are basically like a condensed laptop. It's like an iMac just shrunk down and put in there. So you're still running a really small graphic card. And if they're trying to market it as like you just put it underneath your TV and away you go, it's still a computer. You still have the same problems that you get with PC gaming. You're going to have driver issues that cause problems, and you're going to have game files that end up getting corrupted. At least you can run backups on this one pretty easily. But at the same point, if you're going to buy a machine, at least buy something that you can replace the video card in as time goes on, or you can up the memory, because at least that kind of future proofs it. But I don't know.
And going back to what you're saying about The Witcher 3, like, I just had to buy a new PC recently. Now, no, it's not the top of the line, but I mean, for what was at Best Buy, it was up there, and it can't run The Witcher 3. Like, I would have to go do what Ross just did and go buy this super mega graphics card, and even then it.
Oh, yeah, because his is, just a off the shelf HP won't have the the power supply unit to handle that.
Right.
So
I mean, and Ross is someone who constantly keeps his computer in the latest and greatest, and he still had to go buy a brand new graphics card to run the Witcher 3, which is this is pretty much why I stick with console gaming for the most part, because I don't have to deal with this crap. I just hook up to my TV and go.
Yeah, pretty much.
But anyway, kind of got off off topic there.
But while we're still on PC gaming, did you find it interesting that PC Gamer is like, we're going to do a PC thing now? This is like the first time that we've ever seen a massive PC thing coming to E3. I mean, there's always been PC stuff there, but like them having their own essentially conference. And
basically their big celebration. And it's weird because it's not your typical, press conference. It's, it's a little, I think, a slight bit of conflict of interest in a way, because PC Gamer magazine is the one that's putting this on, but they're bringing in a whole bunch of speakers to basically to discuss the future of PC gaming and discuss their hardware. So I mean, at least it's not like PC Gamer is like pumping out their own
Right.
magazine. They're just sponsoring a time to celebrate PC gaming and bring out developers and publishers to talk about the latest and greatest and what they're doing with PC gaming. Like I know that Phil Spencer is going to be there to talk about more about how the Xbox and Windows 10 will work together to bring in PC gaming, and I'm pretty sure Valve is going to be there to discuss Steam. I mean, surely they're gonna, even if they're not there to do to speaking, surely like the Steam controller is going to be there. So a lot of people are gonna they be. I mean, I'd be interested in checking out the Steam controller at this thing. There'll be a whole bunch of hardware people as well as publishers and developers. So it's gonna be interesting, and that's Tuesday night, and I am going to that. So I'll definitely let you know how that goes, and I'll let you know if I do see Dark Souls 3 or not.
That'd be awesome. I would be interested to see how many streamers will be there because if you're a streamer with your salt, you generally have a PC and you have hardware there, to capture your stream, whether you're doing it, if you have two PCs, one that you're playing on,
Mm-hmm.
one to capture the stream, or you're doing console to PC streaming. I'd also be interested to see how much that kind of starts playing a role, as well as because the biggest thing I notice about Steam at the current moment is that it seems like every week there's another two or three kind of indie titles
Mm-hmm.
that come out, and it seems that indie is really what's starting to make the PC thing what it is because you see really good indie games start out on the PC because let's face it, it's easier to code on a PC.
Well, yes,
And
but isn't that, from what I understand from talking to developers, that's how they always code it. It always is coded on PC
oh yeah, and
and
then it
then ported.
translates over. Yeah,
Right. Now, maybe they don't release it on PC, but that's where the coding always is.
usually yeah, but there's still a problem with while it's coded on PC, let's face it, it's coded for specific hardware when it goes to a console. That's where you have the
Right.
porting problems of trying to translate Xbox's proprietary stuff into it just needs to run on PC and we have no idea what their specs are going to look like, so it just needs to kind of run. And that's where because yes, while coding you almost always let's say coding happens on PC, but it's coded to specific hardware, not generalized hardware. So, but that's also it's cool because there's so many indie games, and then you see the like the big ones. Let's say Binding of Isaac, Shovel Knight. Although Shovel Knight was a cross thing that just it came out on several platforms all at once. What else? I don't think was no Hotline Miami was a big one, but I think that was both PS3, Xbox, and PC at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's say it take Adventures of Pip. You know, that seems like a good one that would eventually make it over to the PS4 or Xbox.
Yeah, it's on PC and Wii U now because that's what they originally were coding it for was Wii U, and I believe it's going to go to the PS4 and Xbox One like this fall, I
Yeah.
think.
So, I mean, to me, in my PC world, because I mean, I use a laptop. I've thought about getting a small desktop one, and I just haven't pulled the trigger yet because I'm like, I don't want to spend the $800 $900 and have this freaking heat sink sitting by my desk now. Um, but that's what I'm curious on as far as that PC thing. I get it. We're going to see like NVIDIA, AMD come out and be like, hey, here's our new stuff. And and NVIDIA going, here's how you can stream your stuff from your computer to this little handheld and or to their new set top box now that you
Mm-hmm.
can stream it to your TV. So, but besides that, I want to see. I'd be curious. I'm really curious as to how big of a force the indie guys are, and how big of a force the streamers are, as far as how they're changing, hardware and what they're bringing to the table. Because I know there's a couple streamers actually going to. I know a lot of streamers actually that are going to E3. One of them is actually streaming most of it for Twitch. I got a couple other guys that are going, but they're going for Bungie to kind of hang out with them. So that's part of what I'm interested in. There's nothing really on the horizon for Sony. I mean, Sony or Microsoft. What are we going to get? We got some console
Sony has me
upgrades.
baffled. has me absolutely baffled about what they're going to have. I mean, so yes, they're probably going to show some Uncharted 4, but we already know about Uncharted 4. So what else are they going to do? And like Nintendo's the same way. I have no idea what Nintendo's going to do.
Yeah,
If
because
they're just going to
they've blatantly come out and said, yeah, we're not going to give you anything on our the NX or whatever their console is,
right,
right?
and they've already said that Legend of Zelda Wii U won't be there, so I don't understand what they're going to have. I mean, Microsoft I understand a little bit more because they're going to have Halo 5 Guardians. They probably will also have. They'll talk a lot about the new Tomb Raider because that's an Xbox One timed exclusive. Um, and Square Enix, they're going to be pimping out mostly the new Deus Ex, which I'm very excited about. I do want Microsoft to have more on Scalebound. They just kind of had like a little bitty bit at last year's E3, and like, it's got two things that I love instantly. It's got Platinum Games, and we got You Riding Dragons. I'm all over this. I want some more besides just a little teaser that they had last year, but I have no idea if they're going to have anything else. I mean, Square Enix said there's going to be no Final Fantasy 15, so I guess all they're going to
Or
have is Deus Ex and Tomb
Heaven's
Raider.
Heaven's Sword, maybe.
Maybe Heaven's Ward because that comes out the week after E3 um, season. Bethesda I know is going to be like Fallout 4 crazy, as well as the Elder Scrolls Online because that released today for consoles. And EA, I guess, is going to have a lot of Star Wars Battlefront, and of course, their Madden. They always have. I really don't know what else EA is going to have unless they show Mass Effect 4, which I really doubt. And then we got Ubisoft. Ubisoft's going to have a lot because they're going to have their new Rainbow Six. They're going to have their Assassin's Creed. They're going to have their Just Dance franchise. Probably going to announce Watch Dogs 2 and whatever other surprises that they said that they are going to have. But in looking in my schedule, like I have like 2 or 3 Warhammer appointments, which kind of makes me like Total War Warhammer. I'm interested in that, and Space Hulk Deathwing. I'm interested in that. Oh, and I can't wait to see Divinity Original Sin on console.
Oh yeah, that's
I'm
one of
really
my,
curious how that's going to work.
yeah. I am too. I would like to. I look forward to that piece because uh, Divinity being on console, yeah, I know it's your PC beloved franchise, but it's going to console. And just think about it. It's more people playing the game, so that just means more money in the developer and publisher's pockets, which just means you may get, another game later on down the road. It keeps the company afloat. Everybody bitching about that should just stop and think about the fact that the more people that can buy a game, the more that developers get, the
Mm-hmm.
more publishers get, the less that we have to hear about another studio closing down because they just don't have funds.
Right.
So stop your
Oh,
bitching.
and of course, I'm excited about King's Quest because I have a lot of nostalgia with King's Quest. So much nostalgia with that. Um, what else? I'm looking at my calendar. Oh, Disney Interactive. I am curious about the Disney Infinity 3.0 because I told my son about it, and he's already putting up a wish list of what figures he wants, even though we have no idea what figures they're going to be. He's very excited about playing with Star Wars stuff. And Warner Brothers. I am excited about Batman Arkham Knight, even though I never finished Batman Arkham Asylum. I'm very curious, like if this is extremely stealth heavy, like Arkham Asylum was, because I just got to a certain point in Arkham Asylum where it really required on sneaking and stealth
Mhm.
and perfect combat that I couldn't do it. So I'm really curious about this because I want to play as Batgirl and I want to play as Nightwing. That's really all I want. Like Batman, whatever, dude. I just want to play as the Bat family. So I'm curious about that. Plus, Warner Brothers is going to have all the Legos, like
Yeah,
Lego Dimensions.
yeah, I've been here reading some kind of like they say that it's fun because you can put the Legos together, but the gameplay itself isn't quite up there, and that Disney Infinity is a much better option. It's just like, oh, I didn't need to read that. And I read that from I think 3 or 4 different sources now that the toys
Oh,
are awesome, but yeah, the game is like stepping back a couple generations as far as the collectible toy sitting on a portal thing.
Hmm. Well, I mean, I don't. When is it going to come out? Like this fall, I think, or is
Yeah,
it this summer?
I thought it was like end of the summer, early fall.
End of the summer, then it doesn't got much room for improvement. Well, I will wait and see, I suppose.
Yeah,
See how
I
that goes.
was debating on pre-ordering it, and I was like, no, I think I'll hold off on this one.
But you're still playing Lego Worlds, right?
Yeah, which they've botched up already. So
Oh, that sucks. But yeah, I mean, I have like a lot of other appointments, like with a bunch of smaller ones, like Sword Coast Legends, which is I was explaining to my boss. He's like, "What is that?" I was like, "It's a RPG based on D&D," and he said, "I think I fell asleep," and I told him he's a horrible person. And I'm going to see Banner Saga 2. I'm going to check out the Pillars of Eternity expansion. Let's not discuss like how far I've gotten in Pillars of Eternity, but the expansion still sounds pretty cool. Deep Silver has a whole lot, like Mighty Number 9. I'm curious how. I thought that was already out. I really did. And I'm like, oh no, this was kickstarted so long ago. I thought it was
yeah,
already out.
that's what I thought too. I was like, oh, everybody's all up about Mighty Number Nine. I should go look at it, and I look, and it's like you can pre-order it for a September release. And I was like, I thought this was okay. Excitement kind of crushed. I think I'll put this on the wish list and just wait to see what happens.
Yeah, that I am curious about that. Deep Silver always puts on pretty good stuff. So that's all that I have. No, I don't have like appointments with Microsoft and Sony proper, but they don't love me just yet. I do have some time set aside. Hopefully, I can go over there and just if I can't get in line for stuff, I can at least go run around and see what they got. I
Yeah,
did try to leave some times open, just so I don't know. I can take a breath every now and then. Crazy, I know. It's a crazy, crazy idea. So for you, you're looking forward to Dark Souls 3, maybe. Um, PC
yeah,
gaming show,
yeah.
and see the Lego stuff, and what else? Is that it? Oh,
Uh,
Divinity.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you pretty much got it.
Well, cool. Hopefully I'll be able to text you plenty
Yay.
about what is going on. But that's all next week. So what have you been playing this week and last week?
Oh, let's see. More Mortal Kombat X. Still doing the towers. Working on getting my timings down. I'm getting pretty good with Aaron Black. I think I need to pick up another character at this point. I haven't quite figured out which one. I'm really waiting for Predator at this point. I'm really kind of excited for that character to drop. Played more Destiny. Played a lot more Destiny actually. Brothers Blake and I were supposed to play, but I just ended up giving up.
All right.
Some more GTA 5. I'm getting pretty close to the first playthrough being done on Bloodborne. I should be able to finish that up next week, and then should have the guide review out the following week if everything works out right. And then I played Lego Worlds. And last week, you may remember me saying that it was like a game that felt really good for a controller. So I plugged in my controller, and lo and behold, the controller works. So that was pretty cool. The UI is kind of a pain in the ass to navigate with the controller, but you can instantly go over, pick up your mouse, and it will switch between the two seamlessly.
Okay.
So that part was pretty cool. But they also created a patch that got pulled down sometime. I think it was like the end of last week. And apparently now I go into my graphical display settings and I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to turn off aliasing just so that way it'll run a little bit better. Maybe I'll turn off blue. Maybe I'll kind of, what else did I turn off? I turned off something else. And all of a sudden, the game starts running like ass. Oh, I forgot one more game that isn't here too. So I was like, okay. So, and the funny thing is that the game can tell when it starts running terrible and pops up a little message on the screen. It's like, hey, we're running like shit. You should fix something. I was like, I tried. So, so
Wow.
I didn't really get a whole lot of time on that because, I basically, I had everything maxed out when I first loaded into the game. And then I started turning things off because it's like, I want to see how it kind of, and the game just starts going to crap. I was like, oh, well, then I'll turn stuff back on, apparently. And that just made the game run even worse. And I was just like, I can't do this. But I mean, it was nice to run around with the controller while I could before the game started basically just frame dropping to hell. Um, that part did make that a little bit more enjoyable as opposed to the mouse. I still really want a first person view for building. I did go in and make sure that like everybody that ran around and punched or all the cars that I had touched were actually in my little, you get like a little scrolly wheel and then you go over and pick it. So all that. So I started customizing my little dude, and about 5 minutes in, the game was just so unplayable at that point. It's like, okay, I'll wait for another patch, I guess, and hopefully it'll fix your shit. So again, this is early access. I knew what I was getting into when I bought it because I've seen lots of people playing early access games and I've seen all the frustrations that they've gone through. So, yeah. Uh, and the last game I've been playing, if you remember from last week as well, I was all stoked about Fallout 4. So I installed Fallout New Vegas, started playing that. I can say that most of the bugs are gone. I haven't seen anybody with a head spinning around or their wireframe missing and just two eyeballs floating there.
Okay,
Haven't seen any of that.
wait, I'm confused.
Huh.
You said most of the bugs are gone, and the game is how old?
Well, I know. The bugs that I run into at the current moment are when you're out running around the wasteland killing stuff, and the creature just gets stuck inside the world. So I've had like barking dog heads sticking out of a rock. And you can't kill it because the rock apparently creates a collision detection, and you can't aim at the head and hit it because the game thinks that the dog is inside. It's so odd. And I've had that a couple times where people will come running at me and then they get stuck. I had one guy get stuck on a railing, but his head was just high enough up that I could use the I forget what the hell it's called. It's totally off my head, but you basically choose like a body part and it gives you a percentage of your likelihood of being able to hit it bars. Uh, so I was actually able to kill that guy with that, but man, I can't say that the instances are kind of far and few between, but as I keep getting further in the game, because I think I'm now 10, 12 hours into it now, I've kind of been roaming around. So those are most of the bugs I'm talking about. I haven't had a game save break yet. Uh, all the NPCs so far are whole and talking to me and will look me in the eye. I have found that, so obviously when I bought this game, I bought all, it came like a game of the year kind of edition, right? So you get all the DLC. So I keep stumbling onto all these little DLC places that I'm too under leveled for. So, and people will be happy to know Vlad the Heartless is running around the wasteland. I've basically helped a bunch of bad people by killing all the good people, which has now led to my fame being high enough that so the new California Republic, basically like the good people, um, every time they see me, they start shooting me on sight. So that's fantastic. But the bad guys, they're loving me, and I'm just like, okay, great. So I've gone into like, it's funny because when you first have to start choosing what like a faction that you're going to go with, you go into this camp and you can either help them out because they're like, we're out of supplies and we're trying to kill these guys. And I was like, I just talked to those guys. They sent me here to talk to kill you guys. And they're like, oh, they don't even know that, but they're like, oh, we're out of supplies. We need weapons and we need food. And oh, can you just please help us? That way we can go take care of these. And we promise that we'll help you out. So I got a couple of their requests and then I was like, oh, fuck you. Pulled out my gun, just started shooting everybody up. So I killed out an entire camp of all these NCR guys, and then went back downtown, back down to the villain camp, and was like, "Yeah, I killed everybody." And the dude was like, "Well, thanks. Here's the sword." And I was like, "Fuck you! I want more than a sword." And the dude was like, "No, fuck you. Get the hell out now." It's just like, okay. So then I was like, I don't know. It started walking down, came up across a roadblock, and just started getting shot at. And I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be fun. This makes this interesting." So it's a good time. It's a good time. So right now I'm in made it to a movie a drive-in movie theater and there's a like a satellite there that pulls you in, and then you get to go and do some science experiment kind of place. So I'm expecting to come out of there with some laser guns, which will be awesome.
Okay.
And then I will destroy the rest of the game. I will watch the world burn. It will be a good time.
Well, isn't the world already burned?
Yeah, pretty much. That's why it's so brown. I know everybody gives a shit, but it does create a very good feeling of wasteland because it's
Well,
burnt.
isn't that the point? Everyone, that's one thing, like I've never played the games, but every time I see people complain about how like it looks like, oh, it's so brown and boring, like, well, isn't it post-apocalyptic where everything
Yep.
is dead? Do you expect it to be green and lush and pretty? I mean, that doesn't make sense to me.
And when you go into some of the buildings, you get that's when you can kind of start seeing it, but they still kind of stick around with that same dilapidated feel. So, you may go in, it'll be brown and red and some colors, but at the same point, again, you had A bombs go off and wipe out almost all of humanity. The people that survived were pretty much in vaults. So I don't know what you're looking for here. You're not gonna, it's not gonna be Super Mario World over here.
That would be weird.
Right? It would. So
It'd be a random Easter egg in the middle of it.
hilarious. So what have you been playing?
Not much different. I've been playing Diablo 3 while I was writing a feature for last week, and I stumbled across a kind of like a little strategy guide online for how to get that 5 million gold trophy.
Mhm.
And basically, what its advice was to play on Hell mode on Master 1 difficulty. So last night, as I'm playing with my barbarian, and I realized she's almost up to level 60, I was like, she gets level 60, I'm not going to replay her in Inferno mode because screw that. And so last night, like I think I got up to level 58, and I said, let me just try this whole idea of the Hell mode at Master One. So I loaded up the Demon Hunter. I put in, started over with the Hell mode and Master One, and I have to say there's something to that. I played for 30 minutes, and I mean, this person, I guess, I don't know what they had with their armor and everything. They said they were able to get 330,000 gold an hour,
Mhm.
but I don't know which levels they started at because I didn't watch the video or anything. But starting from the very beginning and going from the very beginning to about the Skeleton Kings, I think that took me about, 30 minutes. I already amassed over 50,000 gold,
Nice.
which is a lot. That's more than I've been getting any other time I've been playing in a 30-minute span. So I was like, okay, there is something to this. So,
Oh
uh,
shit. You're gonna
yeah, so
actually get this achievement before the end of the summer.
I know. I just might. So now I'm up to nearly 3.2 million gold, so I don't really have that much further to go. I cannot wait. I mean, I love Diablo, but man, I'm so ready to put this one down and just play the uh, Reaper
Oh,
of Souls edition. So I played that. I played more Adventures of Pip because then I reviewed it, and I'm very proud of myself for getting to about the halfway point before I said, fuck this game. Um, I told my boss that I am done with platformers for the rest of the year. If one comes out and I have to do, okay, fine, I'll do it. But I'm kind of done with this. Uh, but the 30 minutes that I played at PAX South is probably the best 30 minutes of the game, and that's really all that someone like me needed to play was that 30 minutes, have a lot of fun, and then move on. Because it really does focus on the
yeah.
platforming puzzles, I guess, and I can only take that for so long, and then it just gets to be the same thing over and over and over. And yes, it does have a unique gimmick with the whole, evolving and devolving. That's really unique, and they incorporate it into the puzzles in a unique way. But that only interests me for so long. So and when I got to some of the boss fights where you had to magically maneuver bouncing over all the stuff and jumping on the head, all right, fine, I'm done. So I mean, it's one of those that it's a good platformer. It's not great. There's nothing really memorable about it. It's the best way I can explain it. And of
Yeah.
course, I'm still playing the MKX card game because I can sit there for 10 minutes. And it's so much more fun now that I have access to all the features. Holy cow. And because I was actually able to participate in the faction wars. So I got 50,000 coins because I'm ranked in the top 12%.
Oh snap!
And my faction won. The special forces. We're finally winning, man.
They
So,
won, they won 2 weeks in a row on the console game.
I know. Well, I think it's all combined together. The console and the card it all contributes to the faction. So it's kind of cool. So I'm still enjoying that. So now I have Cassie Cage, and so I'm still saving up my soul so I can get all the Sonias and all the katanas. I'm just gonna have Team Girl Squad going across the whole thing. It's gonna be great. Although I did get the achievement on the card game for playing a match with Johnny, Sonia, and Cassie. I think it was called "That's a Whole Lot of Cocky," which was kind of funny. But so yeah, I'm still enjoying that because I can sit there. I mean, literally 2 minutes, and I've got a tower finished, or 1 minute, and there's a normal faction battle finished. So it's just a good little way just for me to sit and just kind of veg out for a second while the kids running around screaming. It's like, hold on, mom, you'll be there in a minute. I'm tapping this in, and there's an X-ray. Just don't look at this right now. Yep, don't look at that, kids. Still miss the console game. I just don't have time these days. Oh, wait, that's the wrong phrase.
You
I'm
choose.
busy doing other things.
There you go.
Yes. Because, like, I've been guilted into reviewing another game. And I mean, literally, I was guilted into it. The email I got from the PR rep was full of guilt. So I'm going to be doing that this week, and it's going to be The Escapists, which I know nothing about. I just know it's about breaking out of prison.
Yeah, that's a big one on Steam.
So anyway, so I got it on. It just came out on PS4, so I'll be trying it on there. But anyway, I gotta go. I have lots of crap to do before next week.
Well,
Good times. So
take us to E3.
I will. So yes, we will not be recording next week because I will not be in town. So leave a comment on this post if you want us to talk about something maybe the following week. Although Chris and I have to line up our travel because he's going to be everywhere. And then, or you could always email me at strategyguidereviews@gmail with any questions about anything, about any guides, anything you want us to talk about. You can follow Chris and I on Twitter. He is at Starvin. I am at Crunchy Chocobo and at Strategy Reviews. I would suggest if you want to know E3 stuff, follow me at Crunchy Chocobo, and I will be tweeting probably a lot from the show. And I'm trying to meet with publishers, and if I can, I will try to take pictures to post on the Strategy Guide Reviews Instagram account. And of course, we keep asking that you read SGR every week. And with that, I think we're done.
And with that, we're out. Peace.